But that actually leads me to my next subject.
Oh no.
Segue.
Oh
Here we
no.
go. Here we are. I am a hardcore Star Wars fan, and I have seen Star Wars articles coming out for the last week. Star Wars Celebration. For months, they say Kathleen Kennedy is going to retire, and then she's not, and then they're choosing a successor, and it's Dave Filoni, and Mando's not a TV show, and it's now a movie or something. What is, as you, Tyler, the Disney guy, what is the future of Star Wars with Disney?
That is an excellent question. I don't think even they really understand their own product, given how we all know what a massive, inspiring hit The Acolyte was, with just managing to piss off even the most diehard of fans in the easiest ways that could have been avoided. For starters, like don't hire Weinstein's personal secretary to write the show and sneak in some subtle reminders of her past, the way that the villain sways the female hero in quotes because she turns evil for really no reason at the very end.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch The Acolyte because I didn't care, and I had given up on Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett. And after Last Jedi, I was like, I liked that one enough, and I thought that was the best. And then whatever the Jedi thing was with the Star Destroyers and the either Emperor clone thing, and I don't know what they were really doing. I think they were coming into it the same
Nobody
way.
does. I don't think even they knew what they were doing because like rumor has it it's weird. Like Abrams made the original plan was that Abrams, Johnson, and Trevorrow, who
Yeah.
I'm honestly kind of glad that he didn't do Rise of Skywalker because the fact that Abrams fucked it up, just imagine what Trevorrow would have
If
done.
I have to see this new Jurassic piece of fucking shit crap, I'm gonna burn something. I'm gonna start a fire and become mild arson. I don't want to touch this thing. I don't
Then don't
care
then
about
don't
Jurassic
see
anything.
it.
Oh, my buddy's gonna try to drag me and bribe me with free tickets and popcorn.
Call me. I'll try and find some bullshit excuse to get you out of there.
We'll find something. But no, I'm glad he did not touch Star Wars because that would be even worse than the Acolyte.
Which, weirdly enough, like when Palpatine showed up in Rise of Skywalker, Kennedy shot off her mouth saying that this was part of the plan from the beginning to bring him back. And then I guess Tomorrow in an interview said, really? Because first time I'm hearing about any of this. And then his script apparently leaked saying that Palpatine was either never there or was just a hologram or something like that. And I'm just sitting there going, and this was 2019. This was like almost 6 years ago.
Oh, when Adam Driver was like jumping up, like Ray spent like 20 minutes trying to get into this place, and he gets it in like a minute. I started laughing, and when the Star Destroyers came out of the planet, I started laughing. What a hysterical piece of crap! It was
You
a
know, the weird
comedy.
thing is, the first time I saw Rise of Skywalker, I actually liked it as a fast-paced, guilty pleasure action movie. And then the second
Okay.
time I saw it, all the flaws just randomly appeared, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, shit. Good thing
Well,
I'm
Wedge
just glad.
Antilles came back, and he said he wouldn't come back for any reason unless it was a good reason, and that was a bad reason to come back, even for one scene in a cockpit.
Just bribe him with cold malt liquor, he'll show up.
But like, I think we've got too much Star Wars on the market. Personally, every time I go to watch it,
Everybody agrees with that, even the
when
people who are
we
sucking up to it.
like, even Marvel's guilty of this. They don't go with a plan. They've got too much on the market, and like, I think the one thing we forget is Lucasfilm is the whole thing in the balance, and that's Indiana Jones, that's Willow, that's the Dark Crystal, that's all these shows, that's all these properties combined. But they only give us Star Wars. It's sort of like Nintendo. They only acknowledge that Mario and Kirby exist, right? But there's Star Fox and there's all these other major franchises, but they don't want to touch them. And I don't know why. Like, did they not have a story to tell? Did they don't think they're as popular? Like, there's a Willow fan base. There is a Dark Crystal fan base. They made a TV show, right? Whether it's good or bad, they did it. The Indiana Jones, there is a fan base if you don't do it terribly. You know my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Phoebe Waller Bridges incident and Sad Old Man the movie. But like, Indiana Jones is a hero. He's human. And if you want to introduce someone else and you want Phoebe Waller-Bridge to be a cool person in here, put her as an ally where they're both on an equal footing. But Disney's not going to do that because strong independent woman bullshit nonsense. And if you want to have her do her own movie, give her own movie. Give her own movie. Make her a new character in the world where Indiana Jones happens to have one cameo scene and then he goes away. And Harrison Ford is like, yeah, I got my $1 million for standing there and looking sad and pathetic. And don't ruin Sala on me. Sala is amazing. He is the captain of the Pinafore. He will come and save them. Don't ruin these characters we love. Pay homage to them and put them in a movie as she's in the room with Indiana Jones doing something. And she says, now I'm going on my own adventure. And then we don't ruin Indiana Jones. He just happens to be there to pass the torch. That's perfectly okay. But don't give me these overhyped CGs. Don't ruin James Mangold, one of the best directors of the 21st century. I mean, if you look at the race car movie he made, which was great, Rush, and then he did the best X-Men movie we got in the longest time, probably since X2. Don't ruin these great directors. He did in Complete Unknown was a vast improvement over The Dial of Destiny. Don't take Mads Mikkelsen, one of the coolest character actors, one of the best villains for things, and be like, oh, I forgot how time travel works and now we're in ancient Rome. Don't give me this. Give me something that's well crafted, well put together. I'm taking Crystal Skull over Dial of Destiny, which is a really sad thing to say because that movie has moments, but at its core, Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones. They nailed that point. And Shia LaBeouf isn't even that bad. I mean, some of the scenes are stupid and the ants and the aliens or whatever, but you have to know your characters. And I feel like they're completely out of touch with the characters in Indiana Jones. And if they want to do new characters, make new franchises, make new characters. Don't come along and be like, well, this is Indiana Jones. Don't just tag a name on it because you want to do it. That's what happened for years, for the Get Smart movie, for the A-Team movie, for the Magnum PI reboot, for the MacGyver. Make your own original shit and stop killing other things. Be original. Do that. And that's what the new Lucasfilm head needs to be. Male, female, doesn't matter. They need to have a vision. They need to have creativity. And we can't just say Jon Favreau is in charge of Star Wars because now we're too inside baseball, right? We're looking at this where they're like, oh, well, I want to go deep in this, but we're not going to touch any of the expanded universe stuff. We're just going to pick and choose what we like. No, you have to acknowledge all Star Wars. You have to acknowledge this. We don't want Star Wars detours, Jon Favreau. That show is bad. I don't need Star Wars Rebels with young, whatever, Darth Vader and Leia hanging out. I want, honest to goodness, compelling storytelling, great characters, and creativity brought back to the universe. And I never want to see a Skywalker ever again.
Why was I even here during this rant?
I don't know. This is what I was thinking about. But like, what do you want out of Star Wars as a casual fan? Like, you want to watch Star Wars TV shows, movies? What do you want? What's going to get you back into Star Wars?
Just give me something I haven't seen before and something I haven't seen before that was good. I mean, the reason Mandalorian had a fan base originally before they started going stupid was that it was a space western. I mean, the reason Bill Burr joined The Mandalorian for those 2 episodes was because it reminded him of old Clint Eastwood movies, the way they were shot, the fact that it is bounty hunters doing their own thing, just like the Old West. And I mean, outer space where there really are no rules, no limits on what you could do, especially with having different creatures go up against each other. Yeah, that would absolutely work. And there are so many other genres that you could do with this kind of thing. I mean, I give Acolyte credit. They were trying to do like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style martial arts. It failed, but I give them credit that they at least tried to do something different in that regard. Um, and apparently Andor is good because of the political drama aspect of it. I mean, political drama is not what I look for in Star Wars because George Lucas built this franchise from the ground up, and even he showed through the prequels that he didn't have a basic understanding of what people wanted from it in the first place, which, let's face it, is the reason that when he sold Lucasfilm, we all said good riddance because we didn't think it could get any worse, which I will say this, like, Kathleen Kennedy hires actors who can at least do something, she just tells them to do the absolute wrong thing by all means necessary. And whether it's her ego or the fact that her husband, Frank Marshall, has been up Spielberg's ass for years, that like she feels she's entitled to some level of success. Because I mean, she's always been like production credit on almost everything Amblin for decades.
Starting from Temple of Doom, I do believe was her first credit.
Somewhere in there. And you'd think someone who had been around for decades under Lucas and Spielberg's supervision would have some level of respect or understanding of the craft that went behind it. And maybe in her mind she does. I give South Park credit. They didn't completely throw her under the bus and at least gave her the benefit of a
Yeah,
doubt.
that was really funny.
They
That was
still ripped her to
the Bambi bit.
shreds.
Oh my goodness, the Bambi bit. Put a chick in her and make it gay. It's a deer. Do it.
I just love the
Oh.
shrimps. I just love that she asked the shrimp scampi to make it lame and gay.
I want out of Star Wars. I want Old Republic. I don't know why Disney is so afraid, and maybe you can help me out here, Tyler. Disney will put one Sith and two Jedi on screen. We're never allowed to have more than 10 Jedi or more than two Sith. Like the closest we ever got was the arena sequence, episode 2. Why are they so afraid to put 1,000 Sith on screen in the dark ages of the Sith? Like what is holding them back? Why can't they have more lightsabers?
Well, I mean, there's that Sith rule of two so that they can't overthrow each other all the damn time, which, I mean, that rule I get. I find it weird that the Sith are a little more civilized than the
Yeah, but
Jedi
the
in
rule
that
of two
regard.
wasn't established until after the thousands of Sith that were there. That's the reason why they established the rule.
Come to think of it, because Plagueis was in the Acolyte for like 2 seconds behind a shadow or whatever, I think even they don't fully follow that one. But again, like the Acolyte tried to have 10 or so Jedi fight a Sith, and they got their asses beat in what was probably the only fun action scene within that show. If nothing else, just because the Sith got to headbutt a lightsaber with his helmet. That part was pretty
See,
cool.
now that looks interesting, and I might look up that fight specifically. But I
Just
don't need
that
any
fight.
more
Like
lore on
everything
midi-chlorians
else.
or where the Force comes from. I really don't need that explained to me. I
Oh,
like the
trust me,
mystery.
even they don't stoop to that low a
I think
level.
I think the biggest part for me was the director's like, "Well, you don't like it. You're wrong." And it's like, "What? Why are you angry at fans for not liking it? Shouldn't you say, okay, well, I like the show. That's what you say. You can't just get mad at fans because they didn't like the show." It sort of reminds me of that Bros movie that came out a few years ago, the gay rom com. And they're like, "Well, you don't like it because you're not this." And it's like, why are you getting mad at your audience? You can't get mad at your audience for not liking your thing.
Okay, well, funny thing about the Bros incident. First of all, like romance movies are not generally for guys. Like there are exceptions, but it doesn't really appeal to men all that often unless their dates drag them along or they're seriously that desperately single that they go to these movies wondering what exactly are they missing here. So there's that about it. Second of all, like there's a comedian named Tyler Fisher on YouTube who did a skit about this where he pointed out that Brokeback Mountain, The Birdcage, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, several other movies like this have been box office hits before Bros, even in eras where gay marriage wasn't even legal. So if actors of that era were willing to sign on to those stories, make them good and make money, the problem isn't the subject matter, buddy. It's you. Which reminds me of like the last thing. Billy Eichner is not leading man material at all. Like he can get in a couple good characters as like the sidekick, but aside from that, like he's just not that charismatic. And not to mention, the movie's marketing almost exclusively relied on the fact that it was gay. And I'm just sitting there going, you're not exactly making yourselves look equal to us by constantly pointing out how different you are, because that just defeats the purpose of making movies like this, doesn't it?
And that's what I felt like the Acolyte director did. She just got mad and say, "Well, you don't get it because you're not whatever." Fill in the blank. Her Twitter rants and stuff.
What blows my mind is how many people like kind of sucked up for it. Like I saw Doug Walker's Disney Sember of the Acolyte, and it did bug me that he seriously believed that people were being homophobic about the Space Witch colony. Like he literally said, "Oh no, there are space witches." Meanwhile, Luke and Leia made out with each other, and I'm just sitting there going, Doug, you're a smarter guy than this. You know good and hell well that's not what the majority of people were complaining about. It wasn't the presence of an all lesbian colony that people were complaining about. It was the fact that it was only in there just to spell out something that we already knew. Not to mention was the most unintentionally hilarious aspect in the entire thing, where this lesbian run colony, you make them evil in an attempt to make gay people look empowering. So I don't really know what the intent of that was.
I skipped it.
Plus, I don't know, Josh, if you saw that power of one, power of two, like ritual
Ooh,
chant.
I'm
God,
okay.
that was funny. I literally made a short of them doing the power of one, the power of two, and then it cuts to the Cyber Chase theme song saying, "We've got the power of one, two, three, four."
Cyber Chase, like from PBS.
Yeah,
I remember that show.
because I'm just sitting there like, this is the theme song to that show about math.
But here's my question, and this is the biggest question, whatever your cause is at the end of the day. If you don't know that being racist or homophobic or whatever is bad, where are you living? I think we've all figured it out by now. And if you're shoving it down our throats, we're just getting sick of you. Like, I'm so tired of being told X, Y, and Z. Like, oh no, racism is bad. Yeah, I know that. I've known that since I was 5 years old. Like, how is this new? Like, who is this telling? Are you talking like the deep south racist, like the person who's never left their home? They're like, wow, racism is bad. That changed my life. Like, whose lives are you changing? At this
Th-
point, put characters in who are that, who are trans, who are gay, who are whatever it may be, who are, I don't know, bisexual. Put them in a movie, make them great characters, and we know they exist. It's not news to us. Like, it's like every time we see on stage, you're like, wow, I'm gay. Wow, I never knew that was a thing for my entire life. I'm 32 and I never knew gay people existed. It's like, I know that. I don't need to discover it every single damn time. You're like, wow, these people are stupid. That white cis male man hasn't figured out that gay people exist. I know they do. I want great gay characters. I want something like really great trans characters that are in a movie that it just they happen to be, but I know they exist. I'm not stupid. Like, who is this for at this point? Like, we're
I
so
love that
woke.
you,
I want to go back to bed.
I love that you turned into Mickey Mouse during that rant there for a
Oh
second.
boy, Disney
But
sucking fucks.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because whenever I see this shit, I'm just sitting there going, okay, first of all, the people who you are preaching to, the people who go and see these movies already know not only already know these lessons, but already agree with you and preach this shit on their own terms every fucking day. So like, what are they learning? Second of all, the people you're trying to convert, the people who are actually bigoted, are they seriously gonna go and see a movie if there's a black, gay, or trans person? No.
No.
No, and here's the thing, like making every movie, every show about that topic as if it's somehow forcing bigoted people to like watch these movies and shows to learn their lesson, which I think is the intent a lot of Hollywood elites are trying to accomplish. It's not going to work. And it's
No.
not going to work because there's older stuff that has objectively bad shit, which I make Looney Tunes and used to make Tom and Jerry shorts, but people stopped watching them after a while.
I love
That
Tom and
does
Jerry.
that
Love it.
does have objectively bad stuff, but here's the thing. Every time you play it on a DVD or a cassette or whatever, there's that disclaimer that says it was bad then, it's bad now. We only keep it in there because we have to remember that things were objectively worse back then.
Yeah, I think the best example is I like the Peter Pan animated movie. When I was 5 or 6 years old, we were watching the Peter Pan movie, and you know the scene. I don't have to spell it out to you,
Yeah, yeah.
but like my mom just says, this isn't right. It's an old movie. And then she told me once, and I knew it. I didn't have to be told again that this was bad, but it's in an old movie, and I know that. That's it.
Weirdly enough, it always played at my grandma's house, and nobody even acknowledged it. I mean, I saw the skin on these people. It looked like nothing I'd seen in real life, and because it looked like nothing I'd seen in real life, I just didn't take it seriously. It just seemed like this is going to sound so horrible, but like when you're a 5-year-old kid and you see people look like that, you don't think it actually exists. You think it's some fantasy element behind it. It's weird how a kid's ignorance can actually make them not notice the worst of humanity. It's very fascinating in that
But
aspect.
like as horrible as this sounds, when we grew up, we watched Full House, we watched The Cosby Show because that's a dated show. We watched all these shows, and we're just like, these are families. That's it. That's what we saw. And
But at
regardless of what comes
least
to light, those were families. We watched the families do family things. They were quirky. Someone got, the Brady Bunch. Someone got hit with a football, Marcia, whatever. Fill in the blank. We're like, these are all families. We watched Malcolm in the Middle, different family. All the families were different, but they were great. And we didn't really be like, well, that family is wrong because of this. We're like, well, this is a family. It's funny. This is a come. That's it. That was all we
one
thought.
thing, a streaming buddy of ours, Blue Collar Loser, once pointed out on Stupenzo's stream was that every time you hear like someone talk about black representation on TV, we just sit there and go, dude, The Cosby Show was the number one show of all TV in the 80s. Like every family of every demographic
What
watched it.
about Eddie Murphy in the 70s on SNL? There's so many people from there. I think it's the same old argument. People are like, well, women haven't been represented in film. We're like, what about Ripley from Alien? What about Dolly Parton in 9 to 5? They've been doing it forever. You just don't want to see it.
What about Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and
Bread
Broomsticks?
Knobs and Broomsticks is great. I just watched that the other day. I picked up the DVD and I thought this is a fantastic film. Murder She Wrote. That's a female-led show, but they didn't force it down our throats. So just like, here's a great show with a great character, and that's what it brings us back to again.
Fucking Golden Girls for crying
Golden
out
Girls is
loud.
amazing. That's one of the,
Yeah,
the funniest sitcoms ever made. Those four girls are amazing. They're golden, in fact.
still are. Still are.
Great show. Still on reruns. It's like you have great characters and stuff.